Hey guys, it's Morgan. Welcome back to another weekly Shlog. If you're new here, consider hitting the subscribe button. This is our weekly shop vlog or Shlog here in Western Colorado, Montrose, Colorado, specifically at my little shop called Highland Cycles, where we show you all kinds of cool dirt bike stuff, the occasional street bike stuff, but no side-by-sides, no four-wheelers, none of that crap. We are two-wheeled only, unless, of course, a really good friend of mine begs me, but generally, it's two wheels only, and we show you all kinds of cool dirt bike stuff, from motor rebuilds to suspension rebuilds to electrical diagnosis, all that good stuff. If that sounds interesting, stick with us for this video, and here we go. All right, guys, so first on the lift is this hunk of crap. I'm going to go ahead and call it that. First person to guess what this motor came out of will win my undying love and respect. Comment below. All right, you've had time to comment. This is out of a Ryahoo, whatever crappy thing you want to call it. Sorry, I'm being very negative about this, and the reason is this is my buddy Shane's bike. He had a YZ250. He wanted a bike with electric start, so he sold that YZ250, bought himself a Sherco. Sherco died mid-race, brand new. Couldn't restart. He stalled it. It couldn't restart because the e-start quit working, and it was brand new bike. So he got super mad. Instead of fixing that problem, which I think he should have because Shercos are good, he sold that bike. He bought this Ryahoo thing, and he has had nothing but problems since day one. He has not had it run. I got black on my nose. Anyway, he's had it not run well from the minute he got it. Yeah, he's been jetting, all this stuff. He's replaced the top end 2 or 3 times now because it kept getting coolant coming out of the exhaust. So something was leaking. Ryahoo sent him a new cylinder, a new piston, a new head, a couple times, I think, on each of those. And he'd put it back together. He'd think he had it running good. He'd go ride it, and then it would do it again. So he's over it. And we're going to split the cases, see if we can't find something funky going on there. Like maybe they didn't seal something, because the water jacket, you can see, definitely is right here. So it would have to be like right down in there. If it's going to have a problem. And I almost feel like there's a gasket. There is a gasket in there. It's not just a Yamabond. So I don't know. We're going to split the cases. We're going to see what's going on. Join me as we do this. This could be interesting. We'll get to see the inside of a Ryahoo. Oh, it is a heavy bike, or a heavy motor. So we're going to start by oh, look, the coolant came out. Shane swore that he got all the coolant out. I'm sure he thought he did. Yeah, so I'm going to start by pulling this ignition cover off, getting the starter out of the way, which, oh, the starter doesn't work also. This bike has 27 hours on it, and it's, yeah. So pull that off, get that out of the way. Then we'll flip it over, get the clutch and everything apart. And then we'll see what we can do. I feel bad for him because I love Shane, and he knew he should have stuck with the YZ from the get-go because he likes YZs. He should have stuck with the YZ or fix the Sherco, but this was a bad decision. So, yeah, let's get some tools. That's interesting. That is coolant mixed with oil. And it's all over the flywheel. That's freaking amazing. Oh, that's good. And this is weird, guys. So this is their version of the terrible starter. 'Cause let's be honest, even when KTM did it, the starter coming in from the weird angle was stupid. KTM did it as a Band-Aid for a little while, but they finally fixed it back in 17. But Ryahoo didn't, so now they've bolted on a ring gear to the outside of the flywheel. Oh my gosh. Anyway, yeah, let's get that off. They are using some serious thread locker. It's almost like they used stuck nuts, the new thread locker that all the motorsports industry is using, because screw Loctite in the company who's trying to shut down motorized trails. But holy moly, are they using some serious stuff. Whew, it worked. I was worried. That barely threaded in there, but it worked. Whew, that was close. That's a lot of oil and water. I'm calling Shane. I want to talk to him and see. This is so bad because it shouldn't be that much oil. Because the transmission should be separate, because it's a two-stroke. This is a mess. All right, guys, so I got you saw that ignition, got that off. Got this cover off. Unfortunately, Shane did not drain the oil. I think I remember asking him if he drained the oil, and he said, but whatever, it doesn't matter. So it was a fight to get that off because this dowel pin was, hang on. This dowel pin was kind of seized because it's rusty. That's awesome. And then this is the mechanical seal for the water pump. And it's pretty chintzy and weird. And it sits on here. And I thought this was maybe holding up, getting the cover off. So I pushed down on it. And it just goes in and will spin all by itself. And it's held in place by the screw going through the impeller to hold it like, anyway, this is some chintzy crap. And it's plastic anyway, so that's not good. I mean, KTM does that, which is dumb also, but man. And then they got this, look at that, like that's a little springy washery thing that's supposed to go, goes on there for the power valve adjustment. Man, this is not good, guys. Do not buy a Reju. Sorry, whoever's out there riding a Reju and you think it's awesome, it's not. Even if yours is working well, it's not awesome. And you should sell it and buy pretty much anything else. Sorry. I normally don't say those things. I normally don't go that far. But man, this thing looks like a pile of crap. So, yeah, I'm going to have to get a whole gasket kit. This is a nightmare. We'll go ahead and split the cases and yeah, we'll take a look. Well, guys, I can't tell for sure where it was coming from. That one tore on, I just took it off, so it's going to tear. But that wouldn't have been a water jacket. That's a motor mount. So the water jacket would have been in, like through there, passed through. So it had to have come in through, like this seal. Is that? All right, so like I was saying, guys, it would have had to have come through here, but I don't know how the oil made it into the stator. I don't even know, because like there would have been water, would have had, like the water could have come in through the motor and get pushed out, but the oil would have had to come through, and I don't even know. Stay away from Reju, guys. Whatever. I'm gonna have to get a gasket kit and put it all back together and just cross our fingers, I guess, because there's nothing obvious going on. Everything looks like it was making contact. There's a little bit of a, like that, kind of a warpage. But that's in the wrong place for anything to leak, so I don't know. It's got a drain. Shouldn't need that. I don't know. If I find any more, I'll bring you guys back in. Otherwise, we'll move on to the next job. So we're going to leave that there. Hey, we're going to move on to some 4CS forks that have been valved by TBT. So we'll pull these apart. I've done so many fork seal videos, guys. If there's anything super interesting, I will bring you guys back in. Otherwise, we'll just move on to the next real job, which I'm not sure exactly what this is going to be. It looks like it's all empty in here until you look out there. And then there's an equal number out front. We're very busy. So I'm not sure what the next thing will be. But yeah, stick with us. All right, so we found something I want to show you guys. I got this fork cleaned up and boom, there you can see. Sorta, it's not focusing all that well. There we go. Those are definitely decent sized scratches. So let's show you how we fix those. So I like to start with some emery cloth. This is 600 grit. And we're just gonna go across like that, because it's not, honestly, it really doesn't make that big a difference. But if you go up and down, and you're putting scratches up and down, you're more likely to have oil pass down those scratches this way. So we're going across like we would with the cross hatch. Oh, that one's bad, you can hear it. All right, so I can't really feel it with my skin on my fingers. I definitely can still with my fingernail. And these scratches are deep enough that you're probably never gonna get that done. So let me show you what the next step is. Get it nice and dry. And we're gonna get some grip glue, which this is just cyan or acrylate or super glue. And we're gonna drip it on there. Now we're gonna wait. And what this is gonna do is it takes a long time. It's funny, super glue seals really quickly when you take the air away and like squeeze it between things, but it actually takes quite a while to set up just like this. But we're gonna let it sit like this till it's nice and dry, and then we're gonna come back with our emery cloth. We're gonna sand it again, and the little bits of super glue will be left in the holes and make this nice and smooth. So we'll set this down, we'll be right back. Through the magic of television, the next time you see these, it'll be hard. All right, guys, so I'm back. I think our super glue has dried. We're gonna get to that in just a second, but quick update on the Reju motor. There it is in a box, because I made a post on Facebook. It exploded. Reju USA got involved. It turned into a thing. A lot of you guys were on my side. A lot of guys were on Reju's side. Anyway, doesn't matter. Here, we'll give you guys an anyway, whatever. The cool thing is Reju USA has stepped up. They are going to take care of it. They had me put it in a box. They're going to deal with that. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to send it up to the dealer in Grand Junction, which that's part of the problem, is that the guy who brought me that motor didn't want to go to that dealer for reasons. I'm not, whatever. I'm not going to weigh in on that, but that's a thing. So they're going to take it up there. I have a feeling they're just going to get a new motor, put it in there. Either way, they're going to take care of it. I'm really proud of them for that. That's the way to go, guys. Honestly, a lot of corporations would not do that. They would tell you to pound sand, and it's your bike. But they are stepping up. That's super cool. But I can say that the owner of the motorcycle just wants it running so he can sell it. He's done. This experience is he's done, man. Like, he doesn't want anything to do with that bike. He's going to go back to a Yamaha and just ride that. And, you know, think what you want to think. I'm sure Yamaha would have told him to pound sand too, if they had, because they make mistakes also. But he's also ridden lots of them, never had a problem. So anyway, I think it's cool that Reiju did that. I'm still not going to buy one. I'm still not real impressed with the inside of that motor. As far as just the way it's built, it's very, very heavy, very, very old school, and that's okay. Honestly, I like old school, and I'm sure that when there's not a weird problem, they're probably very, very durable. But I like my bike. I like my old bike. I like my kids' YZs. I'm not going to buy a Reiju anytime soon, but I am very impressed with the company. So let's get over here and see if we can't get these forks fixed. All right, so let's all right, guys, let's take a cloth, wipe off any excess anything. And we got our emery cloth, and we're just gonna sand down and get all the excess glue off, and that will leave a little bit down in those cracks and should make this nice and smooth. There, see, it kind of pulled off a big chunk. That's what you want. Because that, like I said, since we're sanding it like this, it should leave that little bit down in those cracks, because the glue's not going to stick well to the chrome, and that's what you want, but it will stick well to the little surface of the thing. So, man, that is really good. I mean, it's not absolutely perfect, but I really can't feel it with my fingernails. You can see it's not hanging up. You can't hear any little clicky clicky. So yeah, that worked out good. Now we're gonna put these things back together like normal and move on to the next fork leg. And today is a big day for fork seals, so I'll probably bring you back in. I've got like 3 sets to do. So we'll get these done, and then if I find cool stuff in the next ones, we'll bring you guys back in. All right, guys, one of the things that is super important when we're servicing air forks, this is an air fork service on the newer one, 21, 22, something like that, is once we take apart this and grease it, I've shown that before. Takes a lot of heat and a lot of patience to get this off and grease it, everything like that. But then one of the important things when you're done is to put, at least again for us, what we do at TBT and here at Highland Cycles, is I take a little bit of 1040 motor oil and pour it into the Schrader valve. And people ask me how much. I don't know. It's not a lot. The thing is, there's grease in here that we've re-greased and all that on this X-ring kind of thing, and it's a really tight seal. And one of the things that makes air forks a little more harsh is that seal has to be so tight to hold air in that it takes an initial quite a bit of a hit. And man, I wish I could see if you guys can hear this. Oh, there. So even with it greased, you can hear it, it's not moving that well. So a little bit of oil right in the Schrader. And I don't know how many cc's, I don't know what the amount is, but some, probably 4 or 5 cc's. Basically, you want to get enough in there that it will coat the chamber and then stay coated. And I use 1040 because it's a little stickier than fork oil, less likely to pass by that seal, and also will stay up on the sidewalls as the bike sits for a week or 2 or whatever between rides. Also, it's a little bit easier if you push down on it and then pour it and then let it come up. All right, guys, changing a tire with a Moose here real fast for my buddy Ian. Quick plug for Ian's company. He works for Enduro Ranch. If you guys want to come over here and get training on like ride technique or get a tour of the area and pay someone, I'm happy to give you a tour if I have time, right? Like, I'm busy. Sometimes I ride, sometimes I don't, all that stuff. I'm happy to show you around for free. But if you want to guarantee that you have the best tour guide ever and a guy who might be able to teach you a few tips and tricks on how to ride, call Enduro Ranch. I'll put their number up here. Make sure you give them a ring. They're awesome. The guy who started it is a Colorado guy. Ian is their West Slope guy. He's the man. He is the best. I love the guy. He's such a good guy and an amazing teacher and an amazing tour guide. So make sure you guys check him out. Enduro Ranch, if you guys want a guided tour of this area between Peach Valley, Dry Creek, up on the forest, all that stuff. They have permits everywhere and they're amazing guys. So I'm gonna finish changing this and we'll get on to the next job. All right, guys, I got a good one. So I had a friend come out to the shop and he was working on another friend's shock on his older KTM, and he so I can do all of it for him. I just need to get a seal. So it's an older KTM. We look at it. The seal is this crazy little, anyway, kind of a nightmare. Couldn't find a seal. Turns out, fortunately, that the seal head is the same as the newer one. So we just got him a whole seal head from SKF, because, like I said, the one that was in it was not, the seal head is different from the new ones, and it holds the seal in a different way, and the seal that they used on the old ones is this weird little, almost like X-ring thing. Pain in the butt to find. We don't stock it. We stock seals for all the modern stuff. And so we got him a seal head. He's like, yeah, no, I can do all of it. I'll just bring it back in for nitrogen. Sounds great, man. So that same friend shows up at my house with a shock like this and says, oh, and 2 bottles of oil that he had, fork oil, not shock oil, fork oil. And is like, here, can you just put oil back in it and charge it? I'm like, well, that's not just charging it. And I like to put oil in it before it's like this. Now, the newer ones, and maybe this one too, I don't know. You know, you can take the high speed out, although I don't know if I've honestly never messed with valving these things. I've rebuilt them, and I rebuild them a different way than I do the new ones. Because if you've watched some of my videos, you know that I can take this high speed out and I just pour oil in there. But that, on this style, would take a really long time. I could pour it here, but to actually bleed the thing would be like that would take forever. So what I like to do is when they're like this, before I put the whole thing together, I pour oil, flip this thing upside down, pour oil in here, bleed it by pumping the piston up and down, put it together. Then I put the bleed cup here and bleed it and everything. So I tell you, man, it's interesting. When you're in this business, you end up with lots of friends. And he's going to see this, and I love you, man, but come on. He is a friend, but this is so frustrating. Anyway. So we're going to do that right now. All right, guys, so, oh, man. So this shock is jacked. So I took it apart. The shock body is worn horribly. The piston bands are junk. The piston in here is completely seized, and because it's this style with the bleeder here, I can't push on it from here. It's all the way down in there, at least. Let's see, it's really close. So out there. So yeah, that piston is all the way to the top. I think this is the style with the aluminum piston, so it's probably just seized up in there completely. So what that means is that when I go to install this, I bled it, I pumped it up and down. Sorry, I didn't show you. Pumped it up and down, got the air out of it, that's great, except that when I go to push the seal head into the shock body, normally You leave some, there's oil, you don't leave it all the way to the top, but you leave it up here pretty high. As you push the seal head in, it pushes oil in, pushes the piston up. You button it all up. Then you set your free piston height. And when you're bleeding it, it's kind of honestly, on these, it's not easy to do, but whatever, you can do it. And none of that's happening. So not super happy with my friend because he obviously didn't take it apart. Oh, that's the other thing. When I took this bolt out, a whole bunch of air or nitrogen or something came out of it. It was not empty. So not super stoked, but yeah, anyway, we'll figure it out. All right, guys, so we got the cap off. If you look down in there, this is the old style aluminum piston. It's junk. I mean, it was junk from the factory. They were never very good. The plastic ones are much better. And then, of course, if you've watched much of my stuff, you know I like the bladder the best. But it's probably hard to see, but down there about 2/3, 3/4 of the way, there's a big old gnarly mark where that thing probably rode for a long time and jacked that up. So every part of this shock is no good. It's an old bike, and I know the guy didn't want to spend any money on it, so we are going to try to... Sorry, guys, I'm not happy. We're going to try to... Because there's an expectation here that this is going to be cheap, and that's what's so frustrating. We're going to try to get it good enough that it works. Because before it was just leaking, puked. I mean, it was just like a pogo stick. So hopefully we can make it not leak, and then make it at least work, kinda. I don't know. So what we're gonna do, here's the way we're going about it, is I'm gonna leave this cap off, and I'm gonna spray some lube, penetrating lube down in there. I'm gonna put a little more heat to this. I had to heat this up to get this off, but I'm gonna get this whole thing a little warm. Then I'm gonna pour oil back in here. Then I'm gonna bleed it like I did before, and hopefully I can watch in here and see this thing come up as I push it down. I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna happen or not, but I will keep you guys with me. I normally don't get like this, but I'm not happy. So yeah, let's try it out. As you can imagine, I am now not going to take great care in bleeding it because it doesn't matter. The other thing is, honestly, this needs to be replaced. So does this. And I don't know what that would even entail. Like, I'm not sure. I've replaced lots of... It looks like it threads on like a normal one. I might even have the parts for it. But, like, he didn't want to spend the money, so... Doesn't matter anyway. All right, so now we're putting enough 6-in-1 that we will not be able to leave it in there, but that's okay. Because we can do this. You can do this whole thing, bleed and everything, with this cap off. It's no big deal because there's just nitrogen over here, so you put the cap on and fill it once you're done, but... Man... All right, guys, I got the seal head down in there. The piston moved just enough. This is so jacked. The problem is, now, when I move the piston, the shock piston through the oil, it's high speed. The compression is not working because it's not really... It's just moving through the piston. It's not pushing any oil into the reservoir, or at least not much. It is pushing some. I can see it moving a little bit. But, boy, it's not much. this shock is going to feel like absolute crap unless I can get that to free up more, but I don't think I can. I've already heated it. I took this socket that I built for some castle nut, and I can get it down just inside the piston, and I can move it. I can make it twist, but it's still not really freeing it up. I'm going to bleed it as best I can. It's gonna be really, really hard because since I can't push this through there very easily, anyway, we'll get it bled-ish, you know, enough. Put nitrogen in it, and this thing's out of here, man. All right, guys, so next on the lift is actually my bike. I'm gonna be filming this in depth. I'm not gonna be in for the Shlog, but I just wanna let you guys know that I have received 3 clutch weights from Just Enduro / Mitigator. I think that's the same company. Actually, they're directly from Ben Nicholson at First Track Motorsports. Make sure you check out the link in the description. If you need anything from Ben, use that link. You'll save money. It'll help the channel out, and you'll get awesome parts. I'm just so impressed with everything he sent me. And he sent me these 3 clutch weights, and I'm going to try one out tonight for Thursday night ride. Like I said, I'm going to do an in-depth video here right now. So, you know, sorry, not going to show you. Yes, my bike is super dirty. That's what happens when you ride a motorcycle a lot. It ends up getting crazy dirty. But a couple other things. I just installed another part that I can't talk about, so stay tuned. I will be able to talk about that soon. But yeah, I'm going to put these clutch weights on and see how that works. All right, next on the lift is this KX250 F. They call them just KX250s now because I guess that's the way it is. And yeah, it's not starting. It's having to get drug around behind other bikes to start. I have a feeling the valves are going to be tight. I've already taken the tank off, no big deal. I think you guys can figure that one out. But it's not going to start because I've got everything off of it. But let's see how fast it turns over. That's not terrible bad. Like, doesn't seem too fast. But it might be a little fast. So I'm going to take that off. But before we do that, let's take a good look at the air filter. So looks good like that. That's good. Go ahead and pull that off. Let's take it off and make sure there's no dust on the wrong side. All right, guys, it doesn't look bad. Actually looks pretty darn clean in there. But when I look at this, that is not totally seated right. You can see that right there is not on its little pin. And anyway, but the good news is it doesn't look like, at least this time through, a lot got through. It looks like maybe a little bit of dirt got in there, but really not much. Let's take the valve cover off and we'll check valves. All right, we got the valve cover off. There we are. Gonna start with a 3/1000 feeler gauge, and we're gonna come in here to the intake side because it's usually the intakes that are tight. And yep, that one's tight. And yep, that one is also tight. So now let's go ahead and check exhaust. Start with the 6 because that's about the low end of that. All right, so actually I got the other one to go in, the exhaust. So the exhausts are good. Intakes are both tight. Now what we got to do is, I already have this off to rotate, so the motor's at top dead center, or at least really close. I'll take this off and check, make sure we're close. Then we're going to relieve pressure on the cam chain. Then we'll take this top off, and then I'll show you how we actually pull the shims out and adjust them. All right, guys, got the cam cover off now. Since we know we have to adjust this intake, we're going to slide a zip tie. You can zip tie that. We can move that cam up and out of the way. Of course, the zip tie is in the way of you guys, but see right there, we can get right to the shims, pull them out, check them, you know, put the right ones back in, put it all back together without actually having to retime everything. So it's pretty cool. I've shown this in super in-depth before, so I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to get these adjusted. Because they're all the way tight, we're just going to have to guess at shim sizes. Once we get close, then we can do the math. But like I said, I've shown that before. I'm not going to go in depth here for the Shlog. But yeah, we'll get this thing done, back together, and then we'll see if it fires up. All right, guys, we've got everything back together. Cam chain's tight. All the plugs are in. Cover's on there. Everything's tight. I pulled the cold start knob. Let's see what happens. Ooh. Let that fuel pump run. Yeah. I like it. Air filter is not terrible, but we're going to go ahead and clean it. Use that F3 stuff because it's awesome. Still have a few filters left on that. And then we'll button this thing back up. Valves are way out of spec. I had to go down 6 shim sizes on one and 5 on the other. So that's pretty far. Probably going to need a top end, but not yet at least. Seems like it's good. We'll let them know, and they can maybe start saving up money to do that soon. Yeah, on to the next job. Hey guys, thank you so much for joining me for this week's Shlog. Sorry I didn't film the outro there at the very end of the week. I got busy. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you so much for joining me. Let me know in the comments below like what your favorite parts of the Shlog are. I'd love to know what your favorite parts are so I can maybe try to focus on that in the future. I really just want to make this channel absolutely the very best it can be for you guys, especially the Punk Rock Club, because I know you guys are watching all the way to the end. Let me know what your favorite parts are, what I can do better, what you liked, what you didn't like, all that good stuff. It would mean the world to me if you'd make a comment below and let me know. I love you guys so much. Make sure you stick around and subscribe to the channel because I am going to film the rest of the clutch weight video. I filmed the install, and now I'm going to go do testing in hard enduro tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe because that video I think is going to be pretty freaking sweet. We're going to go beat the motorcycle up and myself tomorrow out in Dry Creek. Really can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching Punk Rock Club. I love you more than everyone else. I love you guys. I keep saying, but I really do love you guys so much. Hope you get out, spread the gospel of 2 wheels, and as always, I hope that what we're doing here is inspire you guys to work on, but more importantly, go out and ride your dirt bikes!